Hey friends, happy Halloween! I know it's not Halloween yet, we've still got a couple days to go, but by the time you see this, it will be November because it'll be Sunday. However, what is fall without a little bit of pumpkin? I know some people feel more on the side of loving apples as your fall flavor, and some people love pumpkin. I'm a pumpkin lover. I love all things pumpkin, and I'm not ashamed to say it. So tonight we are going to be cooking a delicious, I know I say that all the time, but honestly, a delicious pumpkin chili. So we're gonna do some ground beef. We've got some pumpkin. We've got some other fun flavors that we're gonna throw in, but this is a super easy crock pot dinner, but you could also do it on the stove top. So we're gonna do it on the crock pot tonight. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Let's eat some pumpkin chili. Explaining all of our ingredients and all of that jazz, the first thing that I did was I went ahead and put a pot on the stove. You could also use a large skillet or a cast iron skillet. This is just the first one that I grabbed out of the cabinet. Doesn't really matter because we're gonna brown our ground beef first. So I went ahead and added that on to medium high heat just to get it nice and warm. The second thing is, do you hear that? Trent is building away in the garage, so it might be a little noisy, but we're just gonna go with it. All right, so let me show you all the ingredients and then we'll get to cooking. So here's what we've got. First things first, I have my crock pot ready to go. I do add a crock pot liner on the inside of the crock pot because this just makes things so much easier to clean up. You add it in, once you're done, you just take this off, take it out, throw it away, and then you just wipe your crock pot out so it's a lot less cleanup. I have all of my spices, but I do have 1 pound of ground beef. This is a little bit over 1 pound, but depending on how much or how many you're gonna feed, it's totally up to you. I always like to get a super lean ground beef, so 93% lean is what I grabbed. I also have some organic bone broth. We're gonna use 2.5 cups of that. I've got some cumin, 1 can of organic pureed pumpkin. Make sure you don't get pumpkin pie mix. You want to make sure you get organic pureed pumpkin. So pure pumpkin. I've got some organic black beans here. We've got some diced tomatoes. This is a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes. I've got some regular paprika, but smoked paprika will also work. I might even throw a dash or two of that in just for extra kicks and giggles. I've got some cinnamon, some chili powder, cayenne pepper, crushed black pepper. I have 1 zucchini, and this is about a medium zucchini that I'm gonna dice up just to add some extra veggies in. 2 garlic cloves. I've got 1 lemon. The lemon we're just gonna use the juice of just to add a little extra zest and some acetones inside the chili. It's gonna be so good. I can't wait. So let's get our turkey, or excuse me, you can use turkey by the way, but let's get our ground beef all ground and ready to go and browned, not ground. We'll put it in the crock pot and then we'll add everything else in. This is really just a dump dinner. You dump it in, set the crock pot, let it cook for a few hours. So let's go. All right, so let's rock and roll. We're gonna add our ground beef into our preheated skillets here. I did put my hair up because, you know, you can't do everything with your hair down, touching your neck, getting in your way. So we threw that out of the way. Now I'm just gonna dump this in. Got it nice and heated up, ready to go. And I'm just gonna slowly break it up. I'm not gonna add any spices or anything into the ground beef. I'm just gonna break it up, make sure it browns really nicely. And then all of our spices and all of the fun flavors, those are gonna go in the crock pot with the entire amount of ingredients, and that's where all of our flavor is gonna come from. Next step, our ground turkey, ground beef, ground chicken, whatever you decide to use. Our ground beef is already done because that's what I'm using. So that's finished. I'm gonna let that just drain in the sink in a strainer for just a few minutes until I get everything else prepped and ready to go. And then once that's prepped and ready to go, we'll start layering everything in the crock. I'm gonna start now with my zucchini. Now this is of course something very personal. I want this to be in my chili. You could add corn, you can add broccoli, you can add, you know, more different types of beans if you want to, spinach. I might add some spinach after everything is done, like right before I serve my chili, but that's a personal preference. So you do what makes you happy. Like I always say, this is your dinner, make it your own. So I'm gonna take the spinach, I'm talking about spinach now, I'm thinking about that. I'm gonna take the zucchini and I'm gonna slice it in half and then in half again. So I'm gonna cut each slice of zucchini into 4 different sections, just like that. And I'm just gonna throw them into the crock pot one at a time. And then we're gonna slice up the ground, or not the ground beef. I can't talk today, y'all, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna slice up and mince the, what is that? Garlic. I just can't think today. My brain is it's just not functioning. I feel like it's Saturday, but I also feel like it's Monday, but it's really Friday, so I don't know what day it is anymore. Sorry. All right, last piece of zucchini there. Now I'm gonna start with my garlic cloves. Now I've done this up multiple times and you probably already know this as well, but if you still have the paper on your garlic cloves and you like have an issue trying to get it off, just take it, lay it flat, take your knife, put it right on top, and then just pop it a few times with your palm and it will come right off with no issue at all. So that is the best way to do it. So that way you're not sitting there just trying to tediously peel 100 times. And then I'm just gonna slice it really thin and really fine, and then mince and mince and mince and mince quite a few times until I get everything nice and chopped up, because I want it to kind of spread throughout the chili. I don't want to just get one big slice of garlic in a bite and go, whoa, there it is. You don't want to have a ton of it. So I'm going to do the same thing for both of these garlic cloves, and then we're going to start layering. Not a whole lot to this recipe. Just got to throw it in one at a time, mix it up when it's all done, so you don't even have to worry about giving it a good stir unless you just want to right before you turn it on to cook. This is also one of those recipes that you do not have to cook like super far in advance. Like you really don't have to start this first thing in the morning because it has to cook for, you know, quite a few hours. You've already got your ground beef or your ground turkey already cooked. So for the most part, you're just wanting your flavors to warm up and cook together really well. So you're not, you know, waiting for anything to cook necessarily. Anytime I open up a can, he thinks it's a can of tuna, and he thinks he's got to have some. It's just chili. You don't eat chili. He's like, yeah, but let me try some, Mom. All right, you got to get off the counter. Love you. Okay, y'all, it's time to start adding everything in. You know, I've already got the zucchini in and the garlic cloves because you already saw me do that. So I've got that in. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and grab my ground beef that I went and drained in my strainer here, and I'm just gonna dump that in and then just kind of smooth it around, make sure it's all over the inside of the crock pot. And then I'm gonna take my black beans. I went ahead and opened up all of my cans, so I'm gonna drain the black beans because I want those to get all of the extra black bean juice out, because all I really want is just the black beans. Now, one thing I did do was I drained the black beans because you want to make sure that you drain them, and then you also rinse them really well to get any of that extra like goopy liquid off of it. So while that's draining, I'm taking my tomatoes with the juice. I'm gonna pour the juice and the tomatoes inside just like that. And we're gonna give these a good little push around and stir around a little bit just to make sure it's nice and even on the inside. And then I'm gonna start layering my spices. So about a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of every spice. Super simple, you don't have to worry about remembering a ton of different measurements. And you know me, or if you know me, you know that I don't measure. I just kind of go a little at a time because that's how my grandmother taught me to cook. And everybody does things differently. So, a little bit of cayenne. Perfect. And now we're gonna do some chili powder. It already smells like really yummy chili. All right, there's that. And now a dash or two of cinnamon, just to give that extra little pumpkin flavor. And I promise the cinnamon is not gonna taste sweet. It's just gonna give you that nice extra something something. Now the crushed red pepper, a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half is not the measurement for that. This is just to taste. So if you like it extra spicy, add more. If you don't like it spicy, don't add any. But if you like just a little bit of spice, then add just a little bit. I think I added maybe like a half a teaspoon there. All right, so now that our black beans are nice and drained, I'm gonna add those in too. Perfect, just like that. And now before I add the pumpkin and the lemon juice, I'm gonna add my 2.5 cups of my bone broth, my chicken bone broth. And if you like your chili a little extra soupy instead of super chunky, then you don't have to add, or you can add more of your broth if you want to. I know we are on the train of we like our chili to be a little bit thicker, but you do what makes you happy. All right, so now that that's all done, still haven't stirred much of anything, I'm gonna add the pumpkin now. And I'm gonna add this entire can of pumpkin into the chili, and then we're gonna mix everything up now that everything is added in. All right, so let's get to mixing around. It's plugged in already. I should probably unplug it because it's not even on yet, so I can move it around. So I'm just gonna fold everything in, making sure I'm getting the zucchini from the bottom and the garlic cloves nice and mixed in together as well. It smells so good. And just that extra little pumpkin and cinnamon, I don't know, it just adds something extra fall smells and flavors to it. Kind of gives your chili a nice orange flavor, or orange, not flavor, orange color to it too. Smells so good. All right, now the lemon is also your own personal preference, but I'm gonna add just a little bit, probably just a half of this lemon typically is what I would add, but because this is a very, very tiny lemon, I'm gonna add both. But if you have a large lemon, only add half of the juice of that lemon and mix it up, and then we're gonna set the crock pot to cook for a few hours. Okay, y'all, it's in the crock pot. I've got it set to 4 hours on high. So we're gonna head to the gym, get a good workout in, and then I think we're gonna take a nice long walk and just get a nice little stroll. Turner is flinging rats around the house. No, we don't have real rats, play rats, toys. Every time I say that, people are like, you have rats in your house? Anyway, back on subject. So we're gonna go get a workout in, get a nice little walk, hang out for a bit, and then in about 4 hours, dinner will be nice and ready. So I'll check back in and let you know how everything tastes, what it looks like, and how we serve it. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon. It'll be like 2 seconds for you, and we'll be back. So I'm so excited about this chili, y'all. So excited. Hey, Fuel Up fam, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you think. Fuel up.